Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Public Utilities Commission for Thursday, December 12th, 2024. Time now is 3:31 p.m. I'd like to give the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Any public input? No. Any correspondence? All right. First up, talk about the approval of the 2025 schedule. I'll just read through it for fun here. For 2025, we are proposing the following meetings: January 9th, February 13th, March 13th, April 10th, May 8th, June 12th, July 10th, August 14th, September 11th, October 9th, November 13th, December 11th, and January 8th. Anybody see any conflicts or issues with what that is?
Is September 11th be a conflict for some people?
I mean, most of the time, if there's any kind of thing, there's usually a thing in the morning or at 6 p.m. Our meetings are 3:30. Really shouldn't. I've never seen anything at that time. But good point. Yeah. Any zero? Any? Okay. So I move that we accept the 2025 meeting schedule as read. Have a second? Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. I move that we approve the minutes from the regular meeting of November 14th, 2024. For a second. Sorry. Any discussion or any changes? Seeing none, I'll try your minds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Financial report.
All right. Water department's currently in surplus position. Sewer is in a deficit. The main reason that sewer is in a deficit position, we still haven't been able to fill out the sewer assessments. Paula has been working with our current vendor, Munis, trying to get it resolved, working with QDS, who's the utility department's moving to. And it's pretty much a race to see which one can get it figured out first so we can get it filled out. I met with, as at a conference last week, met with Tyler, followed up with them, who's the current vendor, talked to QDS, talked to both of them. They both are aware it's a problem that we're trying to resolve and as quickly as possible, and the Paula and the rest of the tax work is trying to resolve it. But without that billing, we're in the deficit right now. It's expense wise and revenue wise, everything looks kind of where it should be. I know Tom's got a couple of accounts that are running higher because we had a main break. Like the water main maintenance accounts at 70,000, and I think that's all from a break, right, Tom? Almost all of it.
Yeah, two breaks. Well, two breaks, and then we replaced 100 feet of pipe because the road was destroyed, and we wanted to put new pipe in there before we basically paved it. And
Permanent paving.
that's still to come.
We haven't paid that yet, so
That bill's another 52,000. So that account's going to be hit pretty good.
Yeah. So that's the only account that I'm really concerned at this point, but there's really not much we can do about it. Water main breaks happened, and this was a crazy one. On the sewer side, I didn't really see anything. I don't know if you saw anything down that box.
No.
Brett, are these new assessments to sewers, or is this?
It's the phase 2 assessments. They're supposed to be built out so over September. So it's just this year's assessment. So it's like year 12 of 1 year, whatever.
Why couldn't they? I don't understand why they couldn't send out the bills.
Because
I mean, they don't change year to year, right?
yeah, but Tyler did a big switchover.
Yeah.
And when they did the big switchover, it screwed up all the interest stuff. we're having trouble getting reports that tie out for the audit related to it. It's a mess. Tyler's a mess with utility billing. One of the main reasons that Paula wanted to move to QDS and why we are moving to QDS. Honestly, I don't think Tyler's in a huge rush to help us fix it either because we're moving off them.
Did we send out a notice to our customers?
I believe I asked Paula that and she has.
Because my only concern is if it goes too long and next year they have a double,
Yeah.
a double hit, instead of only owing 1,200, now they owe 2,400. That could be a big deal to some people,
Yeah.
so.
We could possibly delay next year's by a month or two to kind of,
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
I mean, that could, in a month or two, I mean, that could sink some people. I know people don't realize that, but there's some
Mhm.
people who live in paycheck to paycheck and, I don't know if there's a way to pull up last year's information and just bill them the same and say there'll be an adjustment once we get the new bill. Where here's your interest, what's the interest gonna be? $2 added to their next bill. I mean, the interest is almost nothing on those assessments. I just think we gotta be careful because we really could be putting people in a bad spot.
Yeah, I understand, and that's why we've been pushing to try to get it done. It's also, I don't know if she fully trusts what's in the system right now. And I understand. I don't even know, right now, I'm not even sure if she can run a report to say what she built out last year. It's a mess.
Yeah, Tyler screwed us over pretty good.
The old system's a mess, but
Yeah.
the new
Yeah.
system, what's their timeline on getting this fixed?
So they're in the testing phase, but they were gonna do the assessment piece second and do the use piece first. So now they're trying to wrap up the use piece and then going the piece that wasn't a primary, the assessment piece, because we only bill it out once a year. They thought they had time to do that second. So now it's a try to rush to get caught up on that and do the use piece.
and they needed to get data from the Munis system. That's Tyler?
Yeah.
So that process has been kind of going back and forth,
Well, how
getting
many-
all the right data.
How many
Again.
customers does it affect?
On that assessment?
How many are we talking about?
Hundreds, I think. I think phase 2 is a pretty big assessment.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean, they should have the deposit. I mean, we keep records on everyone's. I mean, you could pull up. It's not hard to put the address. I mean, they could tell me what I paid last year. I mean, we could know what they billed out. I just think it's something we should really look into
Okay.
before it goes much longer.
We can talk to Paula
Yeah,
about that.
Just find out what they owed last year and just.
And then,
explain to them that, look.
true up once we get the data
Yeah, and
correct.
say, look,
Yeah.
once we figure out what the interest is, it's not gonna be a huge increase in the next year. It's just, I think things have a way of festering and becoming a big problem.
I agree. You can't get a timeline on it, send them an estimated bill.
Thank you.
Just so we pay, most of it's the town side. We pay Tyler 40 grand a year for maintenance and service and stuff like that. That bill is due November 1st. That bill is sitting in my office because we're not paying that while we're not getting the service. So we're holding that carrot or stick, whatever you want to call it, out there. But again, 40 grand to a big company like Tyler's not going to make them jump too high. But, we're holding out whatever we can. We don't have much leverage.
Yeah.
I get it. I just looking out for people who,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That's pretty much all I have. Oh, the other thing, Tom and I started looking at what the 8.5% increase did for water, what we thought it was gonna do. Because we had so many estimated bills, we did all the MIUs. It's probably we want one more billing at least to see the true effect of it, because we still have people getting credits. I think we issued today a credit to somebody of $3,000 between their water and the sewer, because they were on an estimated for so long and the estimated was high. So once you got the true up, we owe this person back $3,000. So right now the billing, we just need more data points on it, to be honest with you. But I think some of the revenue stuff looked pretty good, and we just need more time on it.
Yeah, that would be, I wanted to try to give you an update now. We've basically read 2 quarters and we've got 5 months of expenses, and I would just feel better projecting after we've maybe gotten 1 more read in, that'd be 3 out of the 4. And then if we do this in March, after that read, we'll have 8 months worth of expenses. So probably have a better look at where we stand compared to where we thought we were going to be standing.
We locked it in for 3 years, right?
We did.
And then said if we didn't need to increase in year 4, we won't increase in year 4.
Correct. But one of the things we said too is, hey, let's look at it after.
I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm maybe a little bit early with doing this. Really, the time to look at what the full impact of that 1 year is going to be after this coming July is really, but I was trying to do something now and it's, I think, too soon to look at the data.
Good to be proactive. I like it.
If we were looking at it a year, so we talked about looking at it every year. So
Yeah, no, that'd be good.
that's all. I have.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to invoices. We currently have, actually, I'll just say I'll accept a motion to approve 359,000, excuse me, 359,000. Can't see the rest of it, my guys.
$89.
$89.09. Thank you. I couldn't see the eight.
Exactly.
Any discussion? Tom, these are, typical.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
anything-
I think we got, for some reason, I don't have the latest sheet, but it's a Kovacs. It's a Wright Pierce for Bergstrom. It's a Wright Pierce for SCADA. And I think I added the
It's a
West
West
End
End
Sampson. Yeah, this isn't the latest. either.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
But that's all projects we've been working on.
okay.
Last month we paid 200,000 for Kovacs.
Yeah.
This month we get another 200,000 for Kovacs.
Yeah.
Are we caught up yet or are we so back? Well,
Kovacs? No, we've been paying them each month as we go.
I understand that, but we had a bill for 200-some thousand last meeting. Now we
Yeah.
got another bill for 200-some thousand.
That's the current month. Yes,
That's the current month.
yes,
So we're running every 30 days.
yes. I get a bill dated the first of the month, every month.
Okay.
And then that's the one we present here. And then we end up paying that bill towards the end of the month.
Yeah.
So we're current with them. They give us a bill, we pay a bill, and then I submit that to the state. So I'm usually a month behind with getting it to the state.
Okay.
But I keep up with that. So every month I give last month's reimbursement request to the state. So when all is said and done, whatever we paid Kovacs, we're gonna get back.
Right, no problem. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's how it's been working.
All right.
Any further discussion of the invoices? Seeing none, our attorney minds, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, new business, preliminary letter, application for the sewer extension request.
So I didn't know if the applicant was gonna be here today or not
No?
to let us know what his plans were, but I have it on the agenda.
Okay.
The property was 53 Taylor Avenue.
Uh-huh.
Our existing water and sewer right now end at number 49 Taylor Avenue. So if you know where that is, this extension's gonna proceed around the corner and up towards 53. We're looking at maybe, give or take, 700 feet of extension for both water and sewer in the road. And then their proposed project is at 53 Taylor with a residential apartment complex, which would then have further water and sewer extending onto the property. So we really haven't done any formal sewer or water extensions here in the last, I don't know when the last sewer one was, to be honest with you, but
Mhm.
our 2009 sewer rules and regs, and I guess we can just stick with sewer for initially. The process with sewer, it was in section 4 of the rules and regs. Basically, the applicant comes in with a preliminary letter application, which I would consider the plans that they submitted with that letter would constitute the preliminary letter application. What PUC then does is first makes a referral to P&Z for an 824, Connecticut statutes 824 review. And then upon receipt back of P&Z's report on the 824, then PUC would make a decision on the extension. That's how the sewer side is going to work.
Okay,
If it's approved for them to go forward, then the applicant more or less comes back to us with now what's it called?
Like application for expansion permit. So
Right.
this is a preliminary stage,
They come in with their final
And then we will-
application.
okay,
right?
So they probably have a lot of the information we're going to need at the final right now. There's probably some details we got to clean up, but that would be the process. So I don't think we're making any decisions on, approving other than we're just referring it now to P and Z for that 824 review. And then once we get that, we would proceed further from there. That's how the sewer side works.
The 824 review, this is an 830G application.
Correct.
But so with the 824, we're doing I mean, they should be doing that anyway as part of the process, right?
It's
We have to
actually
make an
in our
actual referral?
regulations. It's in our regulations.
That we have to make a referral
Yes,
despite,
specifically on the sewer extension, nothing else about
got it.
your application.
Perfect, okay.
Because they're going to put
Yeah, yeah.
sewer in the road that they're going to turn over to us.
I guess you're saying.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. So we're making, so I'll go ahead and make the motion. I move that we make an 824 referral for the review of adding a sewer extension to planning and zoning. Do you have a second? Any further questions about the referral?
Just.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity.
Yeah.
We've had other individuals asked to extend the sewer. Is it based on the location? Like what, like, is there rules like downtown's easier to extend the sewer than it is in a different area? Like, I just want an explanation on that.
So it's in the sewer district. first
Yeah,
of
the
all.
rules and regs talk
Yeah.
about the extension can be to a property that's within the sewer service area.
Okay.
So if you're outside of the sewer service area, according to the rules and regs, we don't extend it out beyond our,
So all of
Limits.
Taylor Ave is in the sewer.
correct,
Sewer.
correct.
All right, thanks. That's good. Thank you.
And now that sewer extension, that goes beyond their property line, correct?
With the sewer extension, the way it's written,
Right,
it does not say to go to the very edge of the property,
only the water.
only the water, correct.
Okay,
So where they have it now, their last manhole is probably maybe 30 feet shy of their northerly property line, which is probably fine. I don't think it needs to be extended to the property line. In fact, from what they submitted to me, I have a suggestion or two on how they're laying it out and getting into the property. They're bringing it up, over, around, and then in. And I would have them bring it to the furthest point that they want to, but then from this manhole, I would cut in and kind of eliminate this loop, which I don't think is necessary. But that will be a detail we can get into when we give them more comments on the actual, plans.
After they've been through P and Z.
With that 824 referral, correct.
Okay. With that, we have a motion on the table. Try your minds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item 2 on that now covers the water main extension. I don't know that there's any motions we need to make, but just to explain that process, we did approve a policy, which I submitted to you guys, like, I think it was in 2019. That's where we want the main extended to the property line. It didn't get as formal as sewer with respect to, you've got to submit a set of plans 21 days in advance of a meeting, but it basically is calling out that the developer is going to be the one that's going to be responsible. And as well as the sewer expansion, they're going to be the ones responsible to basically, fund the expansion.
Are there any properties in between this expansion, or is it basically just, I know there's the one commercial location that backs up to the cemetery. And then you have the one little house that they did the addition on, but there's no more houses on the right before this?
I think there's one.
One.
As you go around that hard curve and the property you're talking about is on the left, I think there's a property there before you get to them. I think it's 51 Taylor. Draper's Building's 49. There's a 51, and then we're looking at the subject
Right on the
property.
corner.
Now, they don't get assessed for the sewer though, right? Because the private developers doing it for their development.
That's how we have it written. Yeah, there's no assessment
So
for
there's
those.
no, but if they want to hook into it, do we require them to put a lateral to any other properties that could service it?
I have to reread it. I think we would require that, whether it's in there or not, because I think everything we did up in Stony Hill, you ran laterals to the property line.
Right.
So that if anyone's going to connect, they're not getting back into your road. So I think there's a total of maybe 5 properties on, in total, both sides of the road, that would get a lateral. And I have a couple of comments on, he actually shows the laterals on the plans. But I would want to make sure he extends it further beyond the edge of pavement. Whether we call it to the property line or get it at least maybe 5 feet off the edge of pavement. And then he's showing the lateral like right smack dab in the middle of the driveways. I would want to put it on either side, whichever side has the septic tank. So you're not ripping up somebody's driveway to connect. That's a minor detail.
And that commercial property on the left, do we have any idea how many acres that is? That's a fairly large piece of property, right?
It is. I don't have it committed to memory, but it's a few acres. Yeah. I want to say it could be 4 or 5 acres.
Yeah, that's
I
what we
know.
will do.
It goes all the way to the cemetery.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna.
Is there really nothing-
Yeah, I wasn't
no
gonna have it.
action on it?
On the same side of the street, Brian, as 53 Taylor?
It's across the street. It's that big commercial, like, it's like an industrial condo complex. It backs up to the cemetery. It goes all the way to, South Street, I believe.
Yeah, back right up to the fire department.
What?
Goes right up to the fire department.
4.5 acres.
4.5 acres.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Brad.
Melanie, this is a water extension request.
Right.
Since this is an improvement of municipal property, do we need an 824 separate? I mean, if we did one for the sewer,
I would,
we'd have to do one for the water.
I think you're right. I think it is an extension.
It is.
Probably. So
Yeah.
yes, I would say yes.
So with that,
Motion.
well, yeah, so with that, I move that we, refer to planning and zoning the approval of a water extension request that we've discussed, since it really didn't say where. So we'll work on getting that request to them. And,
We'll give that to you.
okay, so I move that we, make an 824 referral. Have a second.
Aye.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And basically just the 824, anytime there's an improvement in municipal property, or we acquire municipal property, do anything with it, pretty much have to have P and Z sign off. Outstanding. Director's report.
Okay, couple of items. Okay, we had our DPH sanitary survey, which is required every 3 years. We completed that in November. They break it down with significant deficiencies, minor deficiencies, and then recommendations. We actually got noted with one significant deficiency, which we've already corrected. But up at the Eureka plant, the overflow from the clear well has a flap valve, which wasn't sitting exactly shut. So we made an adjustment to the hinge, and we installed a 24 mesh screen. We made an adjustment to the hinge, so now we have that corrected. Other than that, everything else is pretty much, I'll be able to respond on an administrative basis, and that'll happen in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll just go back and forth with them, which is what we've done over the last couple of years. Our dam inspections which are due every 2 years, is due for 2024. The engineer Barry Harford from Wright Pierce completed those about a month ago. He's wrapping up the final report. We'll be able to get that submitted to DEEP in time. Our lead and copper rule letters that went out to all the people with either galvanized or unknown. We were requesting all the unknown people get in touch with us. To date, in the last month, we've gotten 137 inspected. 17 have come out to be galvanized, and the rest have been non-lead. So I think that's working out to be about like 12%. I don't know if that's going to continue, but at least most of the ones that were unknowns, at least on the customer side, have been either copper, plastic, or brass. On the street side, we're going to have other work to do to try to figure that part out, but at least we're going after all the ones that we can on the customer side. And the last thing I wanted to bring up, well, 2 things, I guess. I think I submitted our sewer allocation summary. which I try to give you guys every year. And again, it's a one sheet. You guys have it in there. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw it, had any questions for it, but you know, we're showing you the bank and where we've been withdrawing over the years and where we stand right now. And remember, the starting bank for Paul Street and Payne Road had that much also in reserve. The bank was only 50%. So that's kind of where we're at. I have reached out to Ty and Bond and talked to them about giving us an update on our last capacity study. I'm still waiting to hear back from them with a tangible answer.
Kind of on the same topic, when we're talking about capacity, whatever. Has Danbury told us what they're charging us yet? I'm just asking for a friend.
Roughly, yes. I mean, we're 17% of the flow.
And how close is that to where you thought it was gonna?
No, that's, I mean, we basically said, Danbury, we want 2 million gallons a day.
Right.
Their plant capacity is 12.2. So I think that works out to be 16.67%.
So what do you think the actual? cost
So
is?
I think the cost came in at 80, or they were looking at 85 million, if Marius, if you guys know, and they bonded 10 million for I think they bonded 10 million for the design. So I think
95 million.
we were looking at, I think it was 95 million, which we
So
would be
about
17% of.
95, so you're just shy of like 15,
Yeah,
16 million.
Even
15
16,
million,
just over 16.
Just over 16.
That's where it's been. I haven't heard anything further there. I don't know where they're at with things, but
And that will, and then we'll have a reoccurring yearly charge with them.
well, that'll be like our portion. I imagine we're gonna get some kind of loan for that.
Yeah, at some point, they're gonna want their money.
No, I get that, but what happens once we give them the 17 million on a yearly basis? Do we split? Do we pay 17% of repairs? I mean, or how's that gonna
Well,
work?
The way the municipal agreement is now, they're O&M costs. And that's that $1 million a year we've been spending. It's allocated based on the flow, on your actual flows. So if we're doing 1.3, and if they were 13 million, we'd be like 10% of what the O&M is.
Well, we would expect their O and M to go up since they got
Theory,
more
their maintenance
equipment.
should go down though to start brand new plant,
Well,
but
The whole
wouldn't say
plant's
that.
not brand new, I don't think. They didn't upgrade the whole plant. They had to
they've
add,
got
Yeah,
more
but
stuff
there
to
will
take
be
care
a
of.
yearly expense on top of it.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And greater than what it is now.
Now, they're servicing they're just serving one of our districts, right? Or they're doing everything.
They get everything.
They get everything.
Yeah. Our Paul Street goes directly into their system by gravity. The other two areas, like the Stony Hill area, which we call Payne Road, and then the Berkshire Corporate, they both go through their Beaverbrook pump station. So part of that O&M cost every year is a portion of the pumping costs related to that Beaverbrook station.
Now, I know we did the water increase and whatnot. Have we figured this into like what we think it's gonna affect the utility rates for people?
On sewer, we've talked a little bit that I'll let Brad explain
So-
where he's been explaining.
sewer, ever since sewer and water broke out, sewer's made money. And because we knew we had this big project, we weren't looking to drop the sewer rates just to spike them again. Because we're like, people are, and it took a couple years to realize that sewer was doing well and water was the problem, right? So we've been holding because we knew this big project was coming. In the meantime, sewer's built up a bank of like $8-9 million. So in theory, when Danbury comes looking for their money, we're probably not going to borrow $8 or $9 million, or we're not going to borrow the whole 16.
You pay it
We'll
down.
use what's on, depending on what rates we're looking at, right? Like, so, but right now we're not in a rush to give them money because they're not asking for it. I asked their now finance director a year and a half ago when we were going to get a bill for it, and we don't know. But even the O&M bill came 10 months late and wasn't estimated.
And we haven't gotten an actual.
We haven't gotten an actual true up yet.
And is that money like in one of those stiff accounts? Like, are we earning good interest on that money or not?
So right now, because of the way all this cash sits with the general fund, So it's all sitting with the general fund.
So this is included in the 28 million in the general fund, or is it in addition?
It's separated because the general fund owes it to the sewer department. Just like the water department usually owes the general fund money. And we don't run interest either way.
So it's not included in the 17% or whatever,
No.
whatever the bond.
No, the fund balance of 22% or whatever ends at 24.
Yeah.
Does not include that.
So this is off to the side.
Correct. One thing I want to circle back on, and it's kind of on topic with this. We just did a refinance of the bonds, which saved between the town and the sewer department $200,000 this year. But since this is PUC, I'll tell you how it affects PUC for the next couple of years. So for this year, the sewer department is going to save $50,000 by us doing this refinance. And the next, for the foreseeable future, it's over $30,000 less in debt we'll be paying. So not huge to the sewer department, but the sewer is such a small piece of it. But it's $30,000 less that we're paying in debt for the outstanding debt. And then whenever this new debt, whatever piece it'll be, the debt will just not increase by as much. Right now, because rates aren't, we save money by refinancing, but who knows what a year from now could be. Maybe it's better if Danbury's not looking for their money for another year. Maybe we might look back and go, we should have borrowed a year earlier. We don't, so.
We had a crystal ball.
Yeah. We've been playing that's what we've been playing the market more.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
I wouldn't be sitting in this room with you guys.
Yeah. Should have bought crypto like 10 years ago or whatever, but we didn't.
Last item, something got presented to me, which is kind of an item that slipped through the cracks for maybe since, could be as old as the 1970s, as far as I can tell. If you go down to the end of Worcester Street, you got Canthall on the right. The last Bethel property is that mulch facility.
Arrow?
I don't know their name, but
Arrow.
okay. So the very first property on your left in Danbury, the address is 15 Great Pasture Road. That property, it's got 2 acres in Bethel and the balance is in Danbury. The building is in Danbury. Somewhere along the line, when the sewers got put in, they ended it at Canthall, 1960, whatever, 62, 64. It must have got extended. And the best we can tell is the manhole right at near the town line, near their driveway, is a 1973 date. And lo and behold, there's sewers that go up their driveway. So I got approached by the owner of the building who says, do we have any records on how he is in with Bethel Sewer? The bottom line is his building, an addition was built, and that addition is connected to Bethel Sewer. The balance of the building is on a septic in Danbury. He says they bought the property in like 1985. The former owner was Viacom, CBS. They must have had some kind of 8-track manufacturing plant,
Right.
which I'm assuming used water, which is why they needed to connect to sewer. I've got nothing in that I can find in our records. I have two letters. He sent me a letter from 2002 from Len Assard, who was consulting for the commission, verifying that he's connected to sewer. There's another letter from like 2 years earlier from Hem Kona to Danbury's Public Utilities, saying that they're connected to sewer and it's in violation of our sewer ordinance because there's a septic on the property. And he was really asking for, can you send us the water bills so that we can start billing this customer?
Never happened.
I don't have anything else on any of it. So I got approached by the owner now. He'd like to have his whole property on Bethel Sewer. He is proposing to build, and he's going to come into P&Z, Danbury and Bethel at the same time with, I think, 4 separate buildings, 57,000 square feet. The Bethel building will be 10,000. The other 3 will be the 47,000. So he's approaching me to figure out hey, I'm already on sewer. I would like to get the rest of my stuff on sewer. How do we make this happen? So I bring this up because it obviously is something that should have been addressed long ago, and at least in getting him into our system and him having him bill. I had him fill out a sewer permit just so I have some information. He just sent me today his meter readings, which I still have a question on because he's not telling me what the multiplier is. The bill says 103. I don't think it's 103 gallons. It's either 1,030 or it's 10,300 is the most likely number. Either which way, I don't think the flow number from his portion that's going to our sewer is very high. Because that building has got, it's like a bunch of roll-up garage doors. He's got like a car detailing place. He's got an appliance. Anyway, small businesses, they're not big water users. So I bring that up. That's what he is intending to do. And our sewer area goes up to the town line. So his property is in the sewer area, even though it doesn't cover his entire property. So we need to,
But we're actually not looking at extension because the sewer already goes there.
the sewer already
He's
goes there.
already hooked up.
He'd have to modify his site
Building.
to get into the manholes that feed our sewer.
Is he planning residential, commercial, industrial?
He's zoned in Danbury, IL 40 industrial,
Industrial.
and he's industrial for us.
Okay, good.
So 57,000 square feet. The number I had used for warehouse is 10 gallons a day per thousand. We'd be looking at 570 gallons per day. So you're not looking at a big flow. Our sewer ordinance does say if you're connected to sewer, you don't have your septic connected any longer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And,
And 22 years of unpaid sewer charges.
yeah,
You can only go back 5 years ago, right? I don't think
I'm not
we go
even
past-
sure.
I think a lot of things, 3 years look back.
I think
3
Paula
years.
has said 3.
Yeah.
He's got a 1-inch meter.
As long as he pays our bill to Danbury for the 17%, he's all set.
He can do whatever he wants. Whatever he, we'll actually connect the laterals if he wants.
So with all of that said, I think I need to get him into our system. I need to get him billed. I got to figure out, I wasn't necessarily going to try to go backwards since this thing has gone on for 20 plus or maybe 50 years.
Yeah, that used to be manufactured. That used to be CBS Magnetic Tapes years ago.
Yes,
That was the whole building. And then they went out of business and this guy bought the building.
Yep.
Then he put individual.
Yep.
Buildings in it.
Yep.
And I worked on, yeah,
Is
okay.
there,
Did you hook up a sewer?
no, I just. No, I do it.
there's not a
No, we did all
separate
the
water
pipe.
line though, for the separate
No, we
buildings,
did all
right?
the.
He gets his water from Danbury.
So you don't know if he's got a separate, there's no way to know how much was going in the septic and how.
Exactly.
No, he gave me something and he said it's only this portion of the building. Which I can't necessarily verify yes or no, but that portion of the building, he broke out as being about 29% of his 84,000 square foot building.
Yeah.
But if he's gonna eventually put that whole building on is what he's looking for.
Yeah.
I want to just bring that up to see what kind of motion, what
So
kind of.
how do we do that with respect to Danbury? Will they send us a copy of how do we?
I could ask them, a lot of times utilities don't want to go through the effort of, I don't want to have my people making a copy of the bill and sending it to you.
Why would a property owner give it to us?
The property owner could, I also checked with, Ty Sales, who supplies our meters. His meter is also a Neptune meter. I sent him a photo, Dana, and I said, hey, can our reader read this meter? He said, no, but he sent me a product which we could have him purchase. I'll call it a splitter. Basically come off the meter to this device, then Danbury's reader would be attached to it and our reader would be attached to it. Both utilities then can get their own readings.
There you go.
And I think that would probably work. And again, if he puts the whole thing on Bethel Sewer, then that whole flow is going to be, the whole meter reading would be basically what we would bill out. So my plan was to proceed with getting him an account, getting him a bill now for the 29% of his building now. I don't think it's gonna be a big number, because I don't think they're using a lot of water, really.
Does Danbury have sewer down there?
Danbury doesn't where he is. If, when you pass Canthal, you kind of come up the hill,
Stop there.
it's flat, and then their sewer starts when you start going down the hill towards Great Pasture or Shelter Rock.
Because for the portion of.
So there's a stretch where they have no sewer, basically.
The portion of his building that's not in the town of Bethel, how do we allow a discharge into our sewer system if that part of the building isn't in the town of Bethel?
Well, they did that in 2000.
It doesn't mean that it's right.
No, but
Yeah, I'm just saying that, it seems like he would have to
Yep.
hook up,
I-
because, I mean, we don't, Danbury might not care in this one incident, but you certainly don't want to create a precedent where
Yeah.
you're taking utilities from other towns.
I had to bring it up, so.
we have a couple other places that actually happens that are on our books.
Now,
Yeah.
who reviews their sewer connections, their sewer lines in the buildings? Would it be us or Danbury? Because this is industrial property. There's gotta be, as you know, there's gotta be some perhaps special permits.
Well-
We would see it to the building, like, it's the building department, whether it be theirs or ours.
Yeah, we're just involved with the laterals at that point.
That's not acceptable. You don't know what they're putting in the sewer. You get no control over what they're putting in the sewer.
Are you talking the new
What if they-
buildings?
What if they're, yeah, what if they're putting in a paint shop? And the guy's dumping solvents down the sewer? How would you know? You didn't see the drawings.
Oh, no, we're he's gonna go before P and Z in Bethel and in Danbury.
Right, but we get to review and approve.
Oh, we do. When P and Z gets applications for projects, site plans or subdivisions, they get referred to me and I do a review.
Right, but this is on different property. This is on Danbury.
Right,
Yeah.
but
But about like 10 years from now, a new tenant comes in. And if it's just in the Danbury side, Bethel wouldn't be involved at all, right?
We may have to do a
And that's a
separate,
problem.
we're probably gonna do a separate letter of agreement with Denver anyway, because to be honest, I know it's not much, but I'm gonna have it count against their flow too. So maybe we do a memorandum of agreement with Danbury and put it on the file on the land that it has to be, whatever comes in there in the future has to be approved in Bethel. We can put that on the deed, not the deed, but on the file of the property.
A lot of things to think about, a lot of information.
Yeah, I think
Have to get.
I wanted to just present it today, let you know that this is out there and it's coming.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna have some more work to do to figure out.
All
So
these things.
I guess then the question we do actually have is, like, do we need to give you approval to get them set up with an account? Or are we gonna kind of not let them continue to put in our sewer? Maybe that's what,
I don't want to be look, I don't want
Yeah.
to be a stick in the mud and, look, if part of the property's on Bethel and that building is discharging into Bethel, I get it. But the Danbury side, I don't think we should get into a situation where we're accepting, waste that we have no real control over what goes on there. If we're not, our building department's not gonna go inspect the Danbury property. And, I don't know how far the sewers are away from, this property over there.
It would have to be a pump up sewer. You would have to pump up
Like-
over that. No,
Like how far?
Anything down 300-400 feet. just-
I would,
Oh, so he could connect. I mean, it's not like he can't connect to Danbury sewer for his Danbury buildings, right?
I would assume Danbury would make them extend the line. I don't think they would let him pump from where they are to where their sewer is. I think they would make him extend the sewer from where it is
No,
now.
but you're talking 300-400 feet.
I'm not sure. And I don't
I mean,
know,
whatever you guys think, I don't necessarily think it's a great precedent to, say you can hook your whole thing into our sewer system, even though your property.
I think we need more information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, so yeah, I'm not ready to give him an answer. I wanted to just,
Just informational.
that answer we're not ready for, but the answer we are ready for. And I will move to give Tom the authority to get him on the Bethel bill so we can at least start collecting money for that.
Yeah.
I make that a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Term of standing.
Okay.
I just, I'm worried you're setting a precedent by putting them on.
No, I'm just saying he's already on the sewer. Should we put him on an account that we're getting billed versus, or should we go and we should stop?
If it was up to me, I would just wait until we figure the whole thing out, because it may come to the point where Melanie looks into it and she says, you know what, you guys got to stop this. And you've already created an account. And he's like, well, wait a minute, I've been paying you guys. Now you're going to shut me off. If it was me, I mean, what's the difference? If it's going to take a couple months. We haven't been getting paid anyway. What's the difference?
The only thing is he's got a letter from our consultants verifying that he's connected to us. So
But it's only the property that's in Bethel.
No,
it's the portion of the building that the whole building's in Danbury.
Yeah.
The property has a piece that's in Bethel.
Oh, just, okay, so not
Yeah.
a portion of the building.
so let me make it try. There's one big building in Danbury. Half the building goes to septic, half the building comes to us. He's going to build more buildings in Danbury and build a building in Bethel. That's what the future piece is.
But currently, the entire building that's there.
Is
in
Danbury,
Is in
but the
Danbury,
property
and half of it
extends into Bethel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan has a point.
It's the sewer line that goes past the property into Bethel. What he's talking.
The sewer line goes into Bethel into Danbury.
I mean, if there's no benefit to the town, right? If he's gonna build this 10,000 square foot building in Bethel, then okay, you can make the argument, we're gonna get an assessed piece of property.
Mhm.
But he's just saying he's gonna do that right now. He has not done it.
No.
Right? I mean, I don't see how, until we know what's going on, that, I don't know, it just seems like we're kind of losing all around here, I mean, because you're just accepting sewage. We're not getting anything. We're not getting any tax thing. If there's a problem, his crew's got to go out there, see what's going on. You still got to read the meter, everything like that. I mean, it just seems like, I don't know. It
No,
seems,
all you're getting out of it is you're getting a billed account. You're basically getting an account.
right, which,
Yeah. So let me ask you this,
and again, I don't want to give the guy a super hard time.
no,
I
but
just
so
wanted
let's
more information.
let's just kind of talk about this then, because we've voted, right? We have one abstention, we have three of us said yes. We could entertain a motion to reconsider. If his argument swayed you, we would want to just back out of this thing, or we can kind of keep going. I mean, I would accept a motion to reconsider by somebody voted in favor for it. And if there's no motion like that, we'll just proceed. Does that make sense to you, gentlemen? We could basically reverse this and shoot down the motion if you felt compelled by Brian's reasoning.
Well, Melanie, this I think is kind of a question to you about it.
I
Do
just
you
don't
think
really
we'd
know
be creating
anything
a
about it.
precedent?
I haven't seen
Yeah.
any documents, so for me, I wouldn't really an opinion or anything. I just don't know.
Yeah. Well, right now it's permission for Tom. I mean, we can still talk about this too, and we could not go forward and we give him an account.
I think if we just, for today, it's not on the agenda. It's part of my report. I'm just bringing it up for discussion. We can I can get you the letters that I have from Kem Kona and from Lenisard. We could look at our rules and regs. We could study it a little bit better and maybe be in a position to make a motion or have a decision for next month.
Okay, so my point is we have made a decision and you have permission unless we want to reconsider.
Yeah,
wanna
let's
reconsider?
rescind it, yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion for reconsideration of the motion. For that, do I have a second? Second? The motion reconsider? All in favor of reconsidering the motion, say aye. Aye. Okay, so with that, the motion on the floor is to give Tom the permission to create an account to get this gentleman on the service. So in this case, a vote against would be no, a vote for would be yes. So with that, I will try your minds with the original motion. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Those-
3 opposed? And abstention still, or you want to oppose?
Oh, I didn't think I was
So
allowed.
four
to,
votes?
because I
Yeah,
I
yeah.
voted. I
Because
did
once we
vote
do a
for
motion,
it.
yeah. Once your motion.
I was
reconsider,
excluded from the party. I'm just thinking I would.
So with that, there was motion reconsider and the original motion then failed.
Sorry.
Okay.
I was like Rudolph.
So now it's cleaned up. Yeah. So now we're cleaned up. But that, so just so you know from Robert's rules, anybody who voted in favor can make a motion to reconsider at the original meeting or the next. So that's why we reconsidered the motion. We opened it up. Once we did that, it was just like it was on the floor. We all said no, and then that was it.
All right.
So it's cleaned up.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, That's fine.
Yeah, just do what you're gonna
As far as,
do.
let's finish up with the director, yeah.
Let's get the info, and then we
Yeah.
can make an.
Let's figure out
informed decision.
the director's report. Anything else you want to?
No, that was the last item on director's. report.
Terry, so with respect, well, I guess I'm gonna ask you later, but the utility report. Okay, I guess that's it. Whole business. MIU replacements.
Right now, we're probably down to about 160.
Okay.
We're down 2 guys. One guy for medical reasons, he's coming back next Tuesday, and then, of course, we have a new hire coming in the next couple of weeks. We've been concentrating on, between the inspection done at the stations, the dam inspections, and also getting the lead verifications. But the biggest thing right now is we need to do appointments. I know you, with Brian, we talked about bringing somebody in the winter time like we did last year. The problem is we need the appointments to do it. So either we got to do it for letters we've been putting out notices. We've been clipping a few of them here and there with notices. But I think we're at the point now where we need to have either a registered letter or just another round of letters out to the people. Because it's people working during the day. I've got one in a brand new unit that I look at all the time. Every time I look at the list over here at the old sand and gravel, that these people must not be around during the day. And I think it's a backwards view.
Yeah.
So we just can't get into them. But I think
So
we're at the point where we need to
Yeah.
do
So what does it take then to have our guys go out in the evening overtime? Can we shift their hours during the day to go?
well, again, they gotta make appointments.
No, I
You know,
understand. Can they,
if we had the appointments, it wouldn't be a problem.
so we can make, I'm
Wouldn't
gonna say we can make evening appointments as
be a
well.
problem. Yeah, we could pick one day a week
Yeah.
where we would have evenings and break it up.
Or a Saturday.
Maybe,
Yeah, or Saturdays, yeah.
But out of
Give
those
me time.
160, how many phone calls, when's the last time those 160 were called?
Or called, they were never called. It was always done through mail or we go.
So- So maybe we have, if we have contact information, we have, because that's how they called me for mine.
Yeah.
And, what's up?
Yeah, one of the girls in the.
Yeah, it seems like, we should just make it an effort. And again, I'm not saying you're not, but I'd really like to see this cleaned up because we've been
No,
at 160
I
for a long time. And I
Yeah.
just want to, let's get it cleaned up and, make whatever phone calls and
We were kicking it when we'd set up an appointment for, every hour. We get 7 or 8 done a day when the people would
Right.
come back with it, and they were working out great.
maybe there's like a call service or a company, that's fairly inexpensive that we can use to call and make the appointments for us. So you guys aren't driving around knocking on doors, wasting your time and,
And I know they're
we have
busy here,
maybe,
too.
I'm sure there's some company that does that service where, they can call and make the appointments for us. I'm sure the tax department's gonna be getting busy again.
When they gotta call in the evening. I mean, if that's the issue, these folks aren't around maybe.
So,
We could have cell numbers too, which may help. But I don't know that we have numbers for all, say, 160, I would guess we don't have all.
they're easy to find. You just do a
Every
zap a
appointment
search.
that they make for
Get
the lead
anything.
and copper, that either comes from the tax collectors or from the public works office, they do get a number and a name. So it could be done.
Can we look in to see if there's a company that would make the phone calls in the evening for us, or even if we hired like a kid who's home from college, maybe to work, in the evenings, make phone calls and make appointments for people.
we should talk to Park and Rec staffs this building at night.
That's what I said.
So we already have somebody working for us that,
Maybe just make some phone calls.
Yeah.
Do it all.
Instead of doing homework.
the other thing, because the guys, somebody has to go out and test water Saturdays and Sundays, right? You guys work every day of the
They
week.
do the rounds.
Yes. So I wonder if we do, it'd be extra hours, but instead of having to meet a 4-hour minimum or whatever, wonder if we could tack on to that. If we have a couple
Oh,
of.
yeah, and not all the guys, but most of them are open to doing that.
Yeah.
It's just getting, because we did do a couple Saturdays like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna call the guys in for a 3-hour minimum for 1 meter.
Yeah,
We've
well,
gotta
that's-
fill a clock. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
Well, that's why I was
Yeah.
kind of talking about Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
If they're coming in to do 3 hours of testing,
Yeah, they can stay another 4 hours or something. But it's just making the appointments.
Yeah, getting them set So they have somewhere to go and something to do.
All right, DC capital project status summary.
All right, so Bergstrom, we're at 70% of payments. We had a change order this month, which was actually in our favor, so that was good. 4,553 for an alternate hot water heater and the elimination of a vaporizer for the propane system. Work from this month, there's a bunch. I'll go through it quick here. Prep concrete pads for the prep propane tanks and generator. We set the generator, installed fire sprinkler piping, some interior 4-inch supply piping and the backflow device. We're working on continuing with the filter tank face piping. Electrical gear, including the auto transfer switch, VFDs and related conduits are being installed. Outside, some electrical conduit from the outside equipment panel to the well. The generator grounding grid was put in. The gas line was put in. It was inspected also by the building inspector and passed. So that's the update as to where we are work-wise. I asked Marius to come in just to give us kind of a snapshot of where we're at, since the original project substantial completion date was this month. Final completion was to be February. As I've explained at the last couple of meetings, delays with some of the equipment that are now finally arriving has pushed it back. The contractor thinks that he's talking about end of March, I guess early April, with substantial completion. So it really, I don't think is going to impact the construction contract, but the ongoing inspection work now is going to get extended based on the project being extended. So I wanted Marius to kind of relook at the budget of remaining, construction admin work and just give us an update as to where we think we're going to end up being.
Thank you, Tom. So again, my name is Marius Jetkowski, Senior Project Manager with White Pierce. I think you have those handouts with the packet. So I'm going to go through that a little bit. So first I want to review the contract dates for Kovacs Construction. So the notice to proceed was issued January 16, 2023. So this January is going to be 2 years since they received the notice to proceed. Based on that, the substantial completion date was 700 days, which is going to be December 16, 2024. I contacted Kovacs to request a formal letter because in the formal letter, she has to actually provide us with the actual dates for the new substantial final completion dates. She's working on that. And then the change of time of construction is going to have to be formally done through a change order, through a time change order. So she has to provide us with those dates. We've been asking for that at every construction meeting. So the anticipated contract extension based on the schedule that we received on November 1, 2024. So based on that schedule, looks like the new substantial completion is going to be around April 1, 2025. Again, this still needs to be confirmed by Kovacs, but we, going to the meetings, and I've heard many times that's where they're hoping to be completed. And then once that's done, then the plant startup and testing begins. So if the substantial completion is April, based on their schedule, it's projected to be finally completed, middle of June of next year. So as far as the budget, so the next item is to review Kovacs' construction budget and White Pierce's budget remaining. So Kovacs, as of the last pay requisition, as of December 1, they were basically 73% complete. So 7.5 million out of the 10 million, so they have about 3.1 million remaining for the contract. A lot of the work that's remaining is going to be done inside the building. Pretty much, all this underground site pure piping is done. So now they're really going to concentrate on working inside the building. Once the building is enclosed, to get all the trades in, electrical, mechanical, HVAC, process people in, and they could actually work, throughout the winter time to get that done. So that's their budget. So as far as the construction costs, so we have project contingency remaining, almost $300,000 in construction contingency left on the project. And then as I went through the last pay application, there's gonna be several items that, we're actually gonna be able, hopefully, to get a credit on. So those items listed below. So this is basically work that we anticipated, but we didn't use those items. So if, you know, we anticipate that those items are not gonna be charged to town for, so that's about, $151,000 for all those items that I'm listing here. There's gonna basically not, the town's gonna be charged for, so that's kind of additional credit towards the project there. And then as far as our budget, so when we provided the contract proposal to the town, we basically estimated those, 18 months for full-time inspection, and then 24 months for our construction administration services. So basically, the time for inspection is up, and then the construction administration services time is also up. The good thing is, we still have about 260,000 left in our contract to cover the construction administration services, which means, coordination in the office, or, reviewing RFIs, reviewing shop drawings, which we don't anticipate a lot. So even though we kind of came to the end of our contract, we still have some money left over. A lot of this money will be used for like the startup, the final startup services, record plans, O&Ms, but there are still some items that I think we can realize some savings. And those items are listed here on the board. So some of the things that we can actually, potentially have some savings of would be, site visit by various disciplines, inspections, material testing services, change orders, pay applications, survey payrolls, and file like close on the punch list. So if you look at on the second page, we really do have enough budget for the CA portion, but we don't have enough budget for the RPR on site to be there through at least the substantial completion. Normally, we would want the RPR to be there through the final completion, but what I presented here, I think if we can have them there, I'm sorry, John,
Just RPR,
a resident project representative. So this
That's-
is our
that's your
inspector.
on-site.
Yeah, on-site inspector.
Okay.
So essentially, we budget only 18 months based on, what we've done in previous projects. So as of December, we only have like $5,000 left for December. So, we do have enough money for our services to finish it up, but again, the site inspection side, it's not gonna be enough. So,
I have a question. So I know there were some slowdowns, right? Was there a time they weren't doing work because they were waiting on stuff? Did they ever stop completely while they were waiting?
No.
Okay,
no, they've been on site constantly.
okay. Because that would be my question. There should have been savings if there's time that they were shut down,
yeah,
but they just weren't moving as fast because they were waiting on other things. But they were working every day.
yeah, we're working with day, and what we've actually been doing is, because, a lot of times we experience with these projects, we've been meeting as a team, right, here on a weekly basis with our RPR, kind of like counting how many days they're on the field, so we have all this information, how many field days they have, so, we have a record that we can go back and verify, but they pretty much worked, every day. There was a little slowdown in the summertime, like, 4 or 5 weeks, but they had staff on site. If there was no work, we wouldn't have an RPR out there just sitting there doing nothing, so
Yeah.
there were somebody there on site all the time. So essentially today is to really discuss the potential path moving forward. So you can see under item D, if you wanted to provide the RPR or inspector services through the substantial completion, which is April 1, that'll be additional $100,000, about $20,000 a month to cover that additional service, completed by our peers. And then as I'm noting here, there could be some cost savings from the items that we, over budgeted on that could go towards that $100,000. Like, we could reduce our discipline site visits, we could reduce our PR inspections, material testing services, applications. So those items could be probably reduced. So when I talked to Tom Bill earlier today, I think we would want to ask, maybe $400,000. But then I think if we were to be very, try to reduce some other items, I think the range will be maybe between 60, 80, 60, 90. Again, taking out some of those things. So it's, it's not a substantial savings, but it's still, some savings that will be remain on the project.
So I wanted to, there was one thing on here, start trying to get my head around. So we have 296,000 plus remaining contingency. And we have, in addition to contingency, a possibility of 151,000.
Yes.
So the other piece is 260,000 remaining, including 6,000 for inspections, to cover the following items. So is it $100,000 just a reallocation? Or are we asking for a new amount?
I think we need an amendment to cover the additional full-time inspection to get us to the substantial completion date.
Right, but it's not, but right now the funds look like it would cover that.
Well, here's the thing.
260 for right. He's talking about 10 to 20,000, 30,000 in savings from the 260.
Here's the thing, so
Right.
you know. The remaining contingency, that was on top of,
Mhm.
that isn't money we're necessarily gonna spend. That was 5% of the contractor's bid. So when we get the state health department loan, it's the bid number, and then they allow you a 5% contingency.
So basically we're saying we can't take this out of contingency, 100,000.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Right.
So now, so we're
But
now
if we
looking
don't
at,
use that contingency, our loan amount won't be that,
right.
it won't go against the law,
So we have 151,000 that might be unusable,
which is Kovacs's
which is
contract.
Kovacs's contract.
So with
Gotcha.
their bid, the way Wright Pierce wrote it up, more or less,
Okay,
everything was itemized, and then there were specific items, that item
Gotcha.
9, 10, 11, 12. They may not use any of that.
okay.
So the ultimate construction contract,
So the last one, the Wright Pierce contract, has
Correct.
260,000, which likely wouldn't cover the
No,
extra
no.
100,000.
It's already the inspection.
Okay.
You're asking.
That's what I make sure, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sure.
ultimately, I think we're gonna probably end up spending extra with Wright Pierce's construction work or a contract administration work, probably likely between 60 and 100. But I mean, we can put in a lower number, and then if we don't know if we're gonna exceed that, and then we'd be back here again.
So,
Well,
My opinion would, you go with the higher number
right,
and come in less.
I'd like to know why the savings are potentials and coulds and not ours. I mean, at this point in time, Kovacs is 70 some odd percent. But yet we don't know if these items, 9, 10, 11, 12, et cetera, are going to happen or not.
No, those probably won't. The could be's or,
Not probably. Are they going to happen or not happen?
well,
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Oh, the
Out of the
19,
vocabulary.
the items 19 to 18? Oh, that's the
Yes.
number? Yeah. I mean, yeah, so like the additional demobilization, item number 9 is not gonna happen.
yeah, that contractor's gone already. He's done his work. He's not
Number
coming
10
back.
Number 10 is done. It won't be coming back. They won't be doing any additional earthwork. All the earthwork excavation is done. So the 25 is done. There's no ledge. That's a small number there. Again, additional earthwork completed select fill. That's not gonna be done because all the, groundwork is done. Compacted screen stone, that's all done. Utility service allowance, I think they already paid now for the utility power.
That was a $30,000 item. That's what basically Eversource gets from them to come on and do the work.
Yeah.
They've already paid them the 8,000, whatever. I just don't know if another bill is coming from them. And I just don't know if they billed it all out. Typically, Eversource is gonna give you that whole bill
Up front. right?
up front.
Yeah.
So I don't think, when I say that's a could be, I can't speak for Eversource. I don't know that they built it out at 100%. But I don't think they're gonna get anywhere near the 21,000 that's showing there.
but even without those last two, the things that you said you've done is done 9 to 14 is over 100 grand.
Well, that's right. So,
I don't think.
so out of the potential of 151 is a guarantee of 100 plus.
Something. Because I don't think you could award more, you can't make, the project was voted out of the town referendum.
Right.
Amount not to exceed. So you can't award Wright Pierce additional money without taking it from somewhere else, my understanding. Because the project has to stay within the referendum amount.
Yeah, so the referendum amount was the bid amount, our services plus the contingency.
Like 12.2 million, it was probably the number. That had everything.
If you know you're actually that money though, why do we need to approve? Why don't we just say take the 100,000 contingency and use it?
Well,
right
These
here?
are separate contracts.
We have an agreement with Wright Pierce that also the state health department approves. That number was 1.1 million. If we want to spend another 100,000 with Wright Pierce, I think we need to get that, as typically our contracts with Wright Pierce or with Weston and Sampson, if they go over, we do an amendment and we get it approved.
But you still take the money from here, you're not asking.
You're right. That is going to end up coming out of the contingency. I guess when I said it wouldn't, it actually will.
So coming out of contingency, although it's unfortunate that, we're not coming under budget.
Well, the only tricky thing is with the state health department, when I submit, if they've approved us for 1.1 with Wright Pierce, and I put in for 1.2, they're probably not gonna, it's not
No, I
gonna fly.
understand you gotta do a new contract.
Right, right,
I
right.
get it.
Okay,
That's fine.
but I don't,
We're still gonna take the money out of contingency.
You're right.
We're not asking for an additional.
that's
100,000.
absolutely,
We're just asking you to transfer money from contingency and maybe take it out of contingency now and say we have 50, whatever left in contingency and just allocate that for right years.
yeah.
So because I looked at, so it was approved at 12.3 million. If you add the 10.2 for Kovacs and the Wright Pierce piece, you're at 11.37. So you have room to increase this. This board just needs to know that anticipation, the Kovacs and Wright Pierce together is not going to exceed the 11.37. But you're covered referendum wise because you approved up to 12.3.
Yeah.
But did the Board of Selectmen have to approve the Wright Pierce contract at some point because the dollar amount of it? Okay. Use the ability to.
I don't think so. I think,
I don't know. Created me. I don't know.
I mean, if it went to referendum and would the board of selectmen vote on it again, I mean, we've given Dan the authority
Yeah,
at
but it's
another
also-
meeting just to sign contracts, right?
I think just PUC approved the 1.1 construction admin. I don't think the Board of Selectmen.
But, I don't
Because it was
know.
already part of the 12.2.
What's, I don't know offhand, what's the bid requirements though, for PUC? Do they have any? The town side is 50,000.
Nothing says anything about the PUC having a bid
Okay.
department charge. By the way, you wouldn't,
Not for bids, but.
Yeah.
Well, in their contract, I'm sure there's something to say additional work.
Yeah.
Necessary and stuff like that. So do you really even need to redo a whole contract when it's already in there saying if there's additional work
well, just an
necessary?
amendment.
Just an amendment.
Amendment,
yeah.
It's an amendment, which I would then assume, imagine PUC would stand approved.
Why don't we
It's not a
just do
change
the
order?
amendment?
Yeah, that's
It's
what
not a
the motion will be. I
Yeah,
don't
let's
think we have
just,
to
let's
get
just
it.
get the emotion done.
Okay,
It's
so,
an additional contract service.
let's roll.
You got what you want.
So,
Don't say anything else before we take it.
yeah,
Amendment change
So-
orders. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Stop it, yes.
so I move that we develop an amendment for an RPR inspection services to cover us through the substantial completion date of April 1st, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries. Do I need to put my little bullet on it? You know, Dan Carter, the ability to contract, or is that covered by the first one? Should be, right?
I'm sorry, you asked me if.
I'm asking, do you
authority
think, do I do a separate motion for the authority? Because I think I have it for the first contract.
I don't know if you do,
Okay.
the way I have been doing them, Dan,
Yeah.
subsequent to me is just you
Oh,
sign the contracts and any
Just saying
Yeah.
amendments,
that the parties
changes,
take
Right.
change orders. I don't know how it
You'll
reads.
probably get
Okay.
credit
So
for it.
you might just wanna,
So I make a motion that we allow Daniel Lee Carter, first selectman of Bethel, to negotiate and do anything to, I would say, institute said amendment. All in favor? Or actually, second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. There we go.
get the contract.
What a buyer marriage.
See it.
Buy American. Okay, so next up, guys, let's move on. We're almost done here. The PFAS class action suit. Any updates?
No update.
No update. Okay. Utility supervisor report.
As of this month, we had no leaks, we had no no sewer backups. Again, we're working on the MIUs. We've got the pits down to 10 pits that need, be gotten to. And then the service orders for the material verifications. South Street, we're having issues with our communications between there and the, Chestnut Ridge tank. They keep dropping out, coming back in. So we're working with Aaron Associates now to try to make this last until we get into the SCADA program. Because we don't want to buy something and then not be able to use it. I think what we're looking to do is find something that will be adaptable to the new system. So they're working on that. We are having problems with our impellers on the 4 pumps in there. Of course, the pumps have been going since 2013, but we're finding the impellers that whether it's an inferior metal or whatever, they're deteriorating quicker than they should be. So we're looking into possibly using iron impellers versus like a bronze material. But we're waiting for a quote from EFI who built the station and their recommendation, and then we've got another vendor that gave us prices. So we're in the middle of that. I mean, we're pumping, water, but I just think we could be a little more efficient with the new impellers. Some of the impellers are actually come apart, just disintegrating. So that's what we're working on there. Plum Trees right now has 2 brand new pumps in there. The one that we took out last month, is being gone through, and we're gonna have that for a spare. So now we have another station with a spare, pump, and these pumps are, upwards of $30,000. So to have something there, if we have an emergency, we can probably have it in within 3-4 hours versus waiting for something to be repaired. They did make a few changes to the balloons, and the impellers when these 2 new ones came in, so we're in real good shape there. The Summit, the second pump there, did fail. We had that, and we have a new one. We're actually gonna put it in next week. I want to get it done before it gets real cold. It doesn't get a lot of flow up at the Summit. It's just the upper section, but we did have a problem with one of the pumps there. As for maintainers, we're down 1 due to medical. As I said, he's got a doctor's note to be back next Tuesday, with no restrictions, which is great. And then the replacement for Eric that left the end of September, we're hoping in the next couple of weeks we've got someone in. So he's just going through everything with HR right now. So we'll be back up to capacity, but we are in a training capacity for these 2 guys now. But I have the utmost faith. We got one guy that's fantastic, the one that's out on medical, and this other one is young. He hasn't been tainted in any way, and he's going to jump right into this. That's
I'm just curious, with Danbury's main break, did we ever give them actually any water?
No, we didn't, but, for the rest of the board, we had, some communications, from Danbury that came to the Bethel Fire Chief, which came to Dan, to, Tom, and then to myself. I called right over there when, this is the main break they had that Sunday afternoon. It is a 16-inch piece of transite blowout. They were concerned they couldn't supply the hospital with water, and they were afraid that half the town was going to be without water. So they just wanted to know what we could do to help them. They were talking about tanker shuttles just to get it up to the hospital. And we got right back to them, one of the guys in the maintenance crew, and let him know that we had a certain hydrant in Timber Oaks that we were going to have him go on, and that would be it. You know, that would be their spot, and then we would send a guy out there. But luckily, they got the system shut down by the time I got back. So political is one thing, but we have a very good working relationship with Danbury. They'll do whatever they can to help us, and we will do whatever we can to help them. I mean, we're small. We're just a little piece of the pie when it comes to Danbury, but when they're in a jam, might be Bethel to help them out.
Excellent.
That's it.
Okay. Any further items to be brought before the commission? With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
You can't do both.
I did that.
Which one you want? You're so moved. Dino second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We are still adjourned at 4:49 PM.